If we don't deal with sin, it will get the best of us. And there's a great illustration of this in Genesis chapter 4 and the story of Cain and Abel. If you know the story, it goes that Cain was a tiller of the ground, he was a farmer, and Abel was a keeper of flocks. And in the course of time, Abel brought an offering to God, and God had respect to his offering. He brought of the firstlings of his flock and of their fat, and Cain brought of the produce of the ground. And God had respect to Abel's offering, but he did not have respect to Cain's offering. Some people like to say, well, it's because that Abel offered an animal sacrifice, a blood sacrifice. I'm not so convinced of that, because there are grain offerings in the law, and Cain also was a tiller of the ground, and so that's what he had and was able to bring to God. That's what he produced through his labor. I think the answer is found in Hebrews chapter 11, where it says that Abel gave a more excellent sacrifice, that by faith Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice. I think it means that Abel offered his best to God. And if you're giving your best to God, that's going to require faith. If you're just giving the leftovers, or if you're just giving what you want to give, then it doesn't require faith. But what happened is Cain became downcast, and God rebuked him, and he says, if you do right, will you not be accepted? But if you don't, then sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you must master it. This Hebrew phrasing represents sin like a wild beast at the threshold. And God is telling Cain, you didn't offer an appropriate sacrifice. And Cain could have adjusted. He could have repented. He could have asked for help. He could have come back next time and tried to do better. But instead, he became angry. And as the story unfolds, he became the murderer of his own brother. So here's the key principles that we need to mine out of this. Number one, what is our attitude concerning rebuke? What is our attitude concerning the truth of God when we're confronted? Are the commandments of God and the convictions of the Spirit a stumbling block to you, an impediment to you, or are they stepping stones to a higher level? If they're a stumbling block or an impediment, then we're going the way of Cain. Secondly, he says that sin lies at the door. It's an active force in our lives. It's an active principle. We must deal with it. If we don't deal with it, it's going to take us places that we never wanted to go. We have to be repentant and trust in the Lord.